What's up, Keymakers? You wake up, drive 30 minutes to work as an employee at your 9 to 5, which you hate, and all you can think about at work is providing for your family, starting your business, moving it forward, changing the world, and in the process, living the life of freedom and fulfillment you've always imagined. This podcast helps you transition from employee to entrepreneur. My name is Bradley G. Smith, and welcome to the Keymaker Nation podcast. Man, it is another day, and I'm driving home. So just got off work, and I had a good thought for today, and wanted to share it with you guys. So been listening to Russell Brunson podcasts from 2013, and I'm all the way. I've listened to almost 4 years of podcasts at this point, and I'm on year 2017. And one particular piece that I heard today, one particular episode I heard today, was related to really marketers and rainmakers, and how they're so important to a business, and especially marketers who know what they're doing. Of course, you can have a marketing team that on some level doesn't know what they're doing, and they are not able to drive leads and generate business and stuff like that. But then there's also rainmakers, and the rainmaker is someone who basically makes it rain for the business, right? They're really good at bringing leads and business in on their own. And really, he talked about how their earning potential is unlimited for the business. And man, I've always sort of had an issue with this. And he even went as far to say that tech people, which is what my background is in, software engineering, right, are on a basic level a commodity. And of course, don't take that the wrong way. I didn't take it the wrong way. I just am listening to I was just basically listening to his how he sort of thought through it. And man, I've always sort of had an issue with this in terms of a business, right? Like I go in and being a tech person, you're able to build things and tools and equipment and software that the business wouldn't be able to have without you. And so you sort of get stuck in your head. And I'm sharing this with you because I just sort of recently had this epiphany. And of course, this is I'm basically documenting with you my journey to be a business owner who's good at marketing and sales. And specifically, I've sort of had this issue with the fact that I couldn't build anything for a business, and I get sort of stuck right there. And I think just because I could build something for the business means that I'm the most important part of the business, right? Because I'm a software engineer. Without the software engineer, you wouldn't be able to build it. Well, so I've sort of thought, and so I sort of would throw stones, at least mentally, towards the other people in the business who would get, I could tell there was some sort of commission between them in the business. Of course, numbers never get shared, but you can tell that they're sort of making some part of every deal. And so I sort of had an issue with that, because I was always thinking, man, like, my ability to build software is endless. And so how can I take that and sort of get the same sweet deal that they have? And I think as a software engineer, you can do that. You have to be like a business owner, maybe partnered with someone who can do the hustling, or you are the one who's doing the hustling as well as the software engineering. And that doesn't come, you generally find those two pieces together. But I've even mentioned right here on this podcast, basically my own recent, realizations related to building good software and not being able to take it to the market, and doing a couple things wrong, like building the software. I think on some level I'm good at building the software that specifically that the market needs. I can sort of see that, but I'm not always good at elocuting it to the market. I'm not good at bringing a marketing message to the market and telling them why they need it. And you know, that's sort of my Henry Ford way of thinking, where he sort of said, you know, if I asked the market what the market wanted, they would have told me they wanted a faster horse. And he's the one, who, of course, who came up with the car. So I've always sort of held that mentality, but I've also sort of realized recently that being the pioneer isn't exactly the most lucrative way of doing things. So I could, you know, I think being a pioneer is good if there's already market there for it, if that makes any sense. Like a pioneer in terms of building a piece of software if the market has already proved its need for it. But if the market hasn't proven its need for it, then there's no benefit to being the pioneer, because you're putting yourself out there in ways that you didn't want to put yourself out there, and probably losing a lot of money, not being profitable in the process. But I've sort of like, I'm just bringing that back to you with the software engineer, and how on some level, on a basic level, in a non-derogatory way, they are a software engineer is a commodity to the business. And I've always taken issue with that, but I think recently I've sort of come over to the other side, and I've started to realize really how critical it is that you also need someone who can sell the product. And so if you don't have that, or if you're not a software engineer as a business owner, then you're not going to be able to bring your product to the market, and you're not going to be able to team up with someone who can bring your product to the market. So on some level, I'm sort of like backing off of my previous stance, where I thought that it was really important for this, you know, for a company to have a good team of software engineers, and I always sort of took issue with the fact that their salaries didn't have a possibility of being endless, especially based on the fact that without the software, the company wouldn't be able to sell the thing that it does. But I do agree with the fact that if you don't have somebody who can sell the software, then you're not, you know, your business doesn't exist. So yeah, marketers have to learn how to sell the product. If you can get lucky enough to get a rainmaker as a small business owner, like you either are the rainmaker or you have like immediately got a partner as a rainmaker, maybe you're a software engineer, you've got a partner who's a rainmaker, that is like the most ideal scenario. But if you don't have either one of those, if you're not, you know, maybe you're not a tech person and you can't build the software, you don't want to learn how to build the software, you don't have the time to build the software, you're not a tech person, and you know, some businesses don't need tech people. They can put together coaching services or agency services, right? But all right, I'm getting home here, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm not gonna hit any cars or anyone. But so yeah, I mean, to summarize, okay, Russell, I'll give it to you. I think it is more important to have someone who can be a marketer and who can be a rainmaker. And that pains me so much to say that, because I'm a software engineer at heart. But again, sort of recently, I've had to come to the realization that being a good marketer and being able to sell in your business is more important on some level than being able to build software that will support the business. So man, okay, it's tough. The truth hurts, right? So anyways, I hope you guys can take that to mean, especially if you're a software engineer, that to unlock your earning potential, you have to figure out how you can position yourself so that your income isn't tied to your time. And there are ways to do that. One of those ways is to be a business owner with a successful piece of software that is getting sold. there are multiple other ways to do that in terms of building software and getting a percentage of the revenue somehow. But if you're a software engineer and you have tied at some point your salary to your time in the business, then getting out of that in the same business is going to be a hard thing to do. And so I'm not advocating for quitting your job in your business, especially if it's your main source of income and you need to figure out how to sustain yourself and also make sure you're providing for yourself and your family. But I'm just sort of throwing it out there. And for those of you who are already people who can market, who can sell, who can be rainmakers, know that I'm learning and I'm close behind and I want to do it right along with you guys. And so as much as that hurts to admit, I'm excited about it in terms of what that means for me and my business. And hopefully, if you're not already there and you're not a marketer or a salesperson or a rainmaker, I hope that you can get as excited about it and go back and listen if you haven't to Russell's podcast on it. I don't remember which one it is. It's probably I think I'm roughly June or July, maybe a little bit earlier or later than that in his 2017 series of podcasts. So that's it for today, guys. I know it's a little longer than normal, but growing. I'm just trying to grow and admit to myself what I need to know, identify the patterns and fix the patterns, basically. All right, guys, that's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey, guys, don't forget to join me in the Keymaker Nation private Facebook group. If you're listening to the podcast via iTunes, please rate and review. And if you're listening via YouTube, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening.